BookTube, so I'm here to talk about my last book haul of the year. I did get some Amazon and other gift cards for Christmas, and I've made I made purchases like almost right away. I have a couple dollars left on them, but yeah, most of that's been spent, and I'm going to be receiving those books in January. But these are the books I've picked up right before Christmas. Before like the mad, well, still it's kind of mad shopping, but before all of that, like Christmas Eve kind of shopping, I wanted to avoid that. So anyway, I will start with some books that I've read in the past that I saw. And this, if you watched my last book haul, it's kind of like a theme ongoing here. This is Bernd Heinrich's Winter World, and since I've read a couple, like not a couple, I've read like, I don't know, 4 or 5 books of him, and I really like them. This is one that I've already read, and I wanted a physical copy. This is the Winter World, The Ingenuity of Animal Survival. And I want to do a reread of this in January or February. It's a fantastic, interesting book about different animals that thrive during like the coldest of winter and how they manage to do that. Compare like the tiniest little birds to like deers and animals that hibernate and all of that. So I find it fascinating. And there's also illustrations in this book that a lot of his books tend to have. I read it I think like 3-4 years ago. So yeah, I'm due for a reread. And then the other book, going from like Arctic winter in a way to very warm, a warm winter, I'm sure, is The Gulf, The Making of an American Sea by Jack E. Davis. And I read this a couple of years as well, and I loved it. This is all about the history of the Gulf of Mexico and what's happening today, what's the future of it, and all parts of with the makings of like with the water, the temperature of the water, the animals that live there, the people that live there, all of that. It was just fascinating. And it also was the winner of the Pulitzer Prize. And so yeah, I really like the illustration. So I read this on ebook years ago, and so I wanted to have a physical copy. So let's see if I can find some pictures here. There's a couple spaced throughout. This one says, despite the repeated assault of hurricanes, such as the 1919 storm that wreaked this devastation on Corpus Christi, Texas, Americans continue to expand their presence in harm's way. So here's a picture there of the devastation. So there's that one. And then, I should mention, almost all these books are nature related, because I'm just on a kick of nature related books right now. This is The Solace of Open Spaces by Gretel Ehrlich. Well, this is a book I've been meaning to read for quite a while now, at least a couple of years, and I've actually checked it out in my library a couple of times, and I haven't managed to read it. But I saw this, I was like, okay, this will give me that push to pick it up. And this says, a stunning rumination on life on Wyoming's high plains. Ehrlich's gorgeous prose is as expansive as a Wyoming vista, as charged as a bolt of prairie lightning. And so this just looks delightful. I have The Eye of the Sandpiper, Stories from the Living World by Brandon Keene. And yeah, this cover drew me in. Also Sandpipers. I've never read a book on Sandpipers. Does this have illustrations maybe? Or pictures? I'm not seeing anything, no. But the cover illustration is very nice. And let's see, it says, it pairs cutting-edge science with a deep love of nature, conveying his insights in prose that is both accessible and beautiful. In an elegant, thoughtful tour of nature in the 21st century, Keene continues in the tradition of Lewis Thomas, Stephen Jay Gould, and David Quammen, reporting from the frontiers of science, while celebrating the natural world's wonders. Okay, so it doesn't really tell me much at all about what the focus of Sandpipers is, but yeah, anyway, looking forward to that one. I have All the Wild That Remains by David Gessner. This is Edward Abbey, Wallace Stegner, and the American West. And what drew me in immediately was the Edward Abbey, Wallace Stegner part of this, the subtitle, because I love both of those authors, and so I immediately was drawn to it. This is it's an homage to the West and to two great writers who set the standard for all who celebrate and defend it. Let's see, is there any description here? It says, these two great Westerners had very different ideas about what it meant to love the land and try to care for it, and they did so in distinctly different styles. Boozy, lustful, and irascible Abbey was best known as the author of the novel The Monkey Wrench Gang and the classic nature memoir Desert Solitaire. Desert Solitaire is the one I've read. Famous for spawning the idea of guerrilla actions, known to admirers as monkey wrenching, and to law enforcement as domestic terrorism, to disrupt commercial exploitation of Western lands. By contrast, Stegner, a buttoned-down, disciplined, faithful family man and devoted professor of creative writing, dedicated himself to working through the system to protect Western sites such as Dinosaur National Monument. So yeah, we'll see how they, how each of them were effective in their very different approaches. I have another Bernd Heinrich. This is Life Everlasting, The Animal Way of Death. And there is his famous Ravens, Mind of a Raven. If you haven't read that one and you like reading about birds, that was fantastic. And this is actually blurred by Edward O. Wilson. And he he died yesterday, actually. And so I had just picked up, was it The World of Ants? Something like that. That I am deeply enjoying. It's just fantastic. I've never read a book, solely on ants, and I'm learning all sorts of things. And he also talks about his life of growing up and how he made his way to studying ants, and how his studies, what he's found along the way in his many decades of studying ants. And it's just fantastic. So anyway, this was a great. Anyway, that was a great book. So this one says, how does the animal world deal with death? And what ecological and spiritual lessons can we learn from examining this? Let's see, from beetles to bald eagles, ravens to wolves, Heinrich reveals a fascinating and mostly hidden post-death world that occurs around us constantly, while examining the ancient and important role we humans too play as scavengers, connecting death to life. And so yeah, I don't read a lot of morbid focused books. Was it Caitlin Doherty? That's the last book I read that was kind of morbid. It was like, does my cat eat my eyeballs? I think was the name. I read it a couple of years ago, and it was like a YA or middle grade book, and so it wasn't as so heavy like I don't know. I'm guessing her adult books for adults were, so I thought I would go with that one. It was actually kind of a cute in a very, again, morbid way, but she's funny. And so yeah, that was the last morbid death focused book. And so yeah, this one I'm interested to see. And then the last nature-ish kind of book is Shopping for Porcupine, A Life in Arctic Alaska by Seth Kantner. And this is author of Ordinary Wolves. And I want to read Ordinary Wolves, but I saw this one. Let's see. Oh, and it has a really interesting end papers of was this reindeer or elk? So this is filled with pictures of Alaska. And here's another picture of the animals on the end papers. Let's see if there's other ones I can show you here. So this is all about life in Arctic Alaska. Let's see what the description says. Let's see. Beginning with his parents' migration to the Alaskan wilderness and extending to his own attempts to balance hunting and writing, Shopping for Porcupine returns to the setting of Cantor's debut novel with a fascinating account of life on North America's last frontier. My memory begins under snow, he writes, recalling his early and long-standing respect for the old Inupiaq ways, cold nights on caribou hides, swimming in the ice floes for wounded waterfowl, homeschooling and fur-clad travelers, stopping with their dog teams for visits. So yeah, it's filled with photography and him talking about his life in Alaska. So yeah, this will be a nice, pretty quick read. And then shifting completely to romance books, but they're kind of like nature kind of themed in a way, because what drew me in was the covers and like talking about like how this is Debbie May Corn's Buffalo Valley, and so like the wintry cover and like, you know, being out. I don't know. I feel like they're walking around outdoors. That's probably not what's happening. But and this is all. This is Returning to Promise, and both of these are part of a series, like a North Dakota series. Let's see. So there's a couple other books. Yeah, Buffalo Valley. I don't know. I don't know the name of the series. The series here, but does this one here tell me? Oh no, I'm completely wrong. This one is I can see like the orange cover. I think it's not, you know, the cold North Dakota. This is part of her Texas series, Town of Promise, Texas series, and this is part of the North Dakota series. Anyway, I saw these like nice hardcovers in really good condition, and so I thought I would pick them up. And I for sure want to see what I can find on the Dakota series and start there. Before making my way to that one. Anyway, so those are the last books I've picked up at the end of December. I've had a great book shopping and book finding year through the free libraries on my walks with Fable. It's been a very productive year. I've managed to go from one bookshelf to 3, although this last one is a lot of my boyfriend's books. But anyway, and I still have one shelf to fill. But like I said, I've purchased quite a few books with my Christmas money that I was gifted, and so yeah, I don't think this little shelf will last long. But anyway, I will talk to you soon. Thanks, BookTube.